This time on Project Heartway, Little Green is going dark. Now, if you don't know, this is my 1994 Chevy S10. I call it Little Green. I bought it from my dad. He used to work construction, and this truck spent a lot of its life doing some hard work. We've done a lot of work to this truck so far. A couple of minor mechanical issues. Then it had a water leak in the cab from some bad seam sealer. We refreshed the carpet, put a new headliner in it. Now it's got seats in it out of a Chevy Cavalier. Got a new steering wheel. We got upgraded speakers in there. You know, little things to make it a good little street truck. There's 3 more significant upgrades I want to do to the truck though before I say, okay, I'm done. Let's get back on, more important projects. Now the first of those upgrades I want to get after is the window tint. This thing is like a rolling greenhouse. It's hot in there, okay? So anything I can do to help myself out, I need to do it. Also fix the air conditioning. I'll get to that later though. This, however, is a 40-inch tall, 30-foot roll of SunTech ceramic IR window tint. And did you know that you can't just buy this stuff direct from the supplier? Them and 3M, they, you got to be a licensed dealer to get their high-quality stuff that you would get from a shop. But a little quick search on eBay, and I found a guy that sells the stuff. Is this the right stuff? Well, that's what I said I was paying for. I don't know, but we're gonna throw it over there and put it on the truck. So along with my window tint, I've also got this cheap little Amazon window tinting kit. It's got a stainless steel razor blade knife. You want stainless steel because that, hopefully, as long as you don't dig in too hard, won't scratch your glass when you're trimming the stuff to fit. It's got various little scrapers and things like that, squeegees. Got a plastic scraper here for getting the crap off your windows so that hopefully you don't have any bubbles in it. Got here a bottle of soapy water. It's just some dish soap in water. That'll be useful when we're fitting the tint onto the windows. And then I've got my heat gun and some flashlights. Typically to get started, you'd want to start by cleaning the windows, and I mean cleaning them. However, these little pop-out windows here have got these levers attached to them, and I've got to get this out so that I can, tint the window and then put this back through the hole in there. This is held in, well, by a screw here on the back that I can't get to because of a roll pin. So I've got to knock that out real quick, then we'll get that cleaned up. Now, you need a roll pin punch to knock these out, but I don't have one of those. But what I do have is an Allen wrench and this little hammer here. So I'm gonna knock that roll pin out with this Allen wrench, hopefully not break the glass in the meantime. Pop it down a little bit more. Oh, nope, that's out of there now. And I got this cute little screwdriver my wife tried to steal from me. Fit right in there. There we go. That window is now free of anything obstructing it, and we can clean it up and get ready to tint it. Alright, so you want to clean the absolute heck out of these windows. I sprayed this one off with some Sprayway on the inside and out. Cleaned it out. I'm gonna now hit it with some of that soapy water I've got. And real quick, just anything that might still be on there afterwards, I'm gonna try and scrape the area, especially around the edges where I'm gonna shrink the material so I don't have anything to form on there. Wipe that off a little bit. Now your window tint has got a protective film on one side that covers the adhesive. So we want to use the back side of it, essentially the side that's going to be, that you touch from the inside of the car. I'm going to put that on this side of the window, and then we're going to use this area here to cut out the template, so to speak, of what our window tint should be shaped like. It needs to be just a little bit bigger than this blacked out area that you see open in the window. I don't have to have a piece this entire size because I only need this portion covered. So I'm gonna hit that with some soapy water there, and then I'm gonna hit this with some soapy water. You see that'll cling right to that. Now that that's on there, I'm having a hard time seeing that blacked out portion, so I'm gonna pop a flashlight in there behind the window so I can see things a little better. So now that I've got that on there, I'm gonna make sure it's lined up to where I'm in a good position to start cutting out the excess material here. I'm gonna squeegee out this soapy water. And you see it just pushes right out of there. Try to get as many of the bubbles and things out of it as I possibly can. Now that is smooth against the glass. Now that that's on there, I'm going to take a straight edge and I'm going to start lining up my cut down these edges. I've heard a protractor works really well for this, but I don't have one of those. So this is what we're using. This came in the toolkit. It's a squeegee, but it's flexible and it's got a straight edge on it. I'm not going to put in my knife like this because I don't want to scratch my glass. I'm just going to put it as parallel to it as I can and drag it along. Then I'll move my tool, try to get it lined up the best I can. Drag it along. Now we'll do that all the way around the window. See, nice little whoop, pull that strip off. Keep going. Ah! Didn't quite get deep enough there. Turn my flashlight sideways so I can see this bottom edge good. Oh wow. I lined that bottom edge almost to the point where I didn't have to cut anything. Now that I've got the excess trimmed off on the four edges, the four corners could be rounded off, trim off a little more excess there. For these windows, you know, it's got some shapes that are pretty long and drawn out. So gotta find a way to go around that corner without being funky. The kit came with this scraper that looks eerily like the same kind of scraper that you use for a cast iron skillet, but it's got some round edges that I think I can use to line things up the way I need them to be. I cut that one close. Gonna have to make sure I get that lined up real good before we really set her in place there. There we go, there's the corner. Hey, give me that back. All right, now this last little one here. Amazon Music done switched the band I was listening to. Now that I've got my shape cut out, I'm gonna peel this off one more time, hit it with a little more water, set it back on there. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shrink the material if it need be. So I'm gonna try to work all the bubbles out from the top to the bottom. And just get everything up here nice and smooth. Now you'll want to use a hard squeegee or a hard card for this, because any wrinkles that come up, you're going to want to really put some force on them to get them out. You don't have to use the heat gun for this either. You can use, you know, your wife's hair dryer. Obviously I don't have my own, but you can use your wife's. Just, you know, don't get it dirty. Make sure you don't tear it up. So I'm going to turn it on low. We'll go around the edges here. Don't keep it in one spot for too long. If there were any bubbles, I believe they would turn into big squiggly lines. You'd want to get that, force it to the outside. And this little hole here where see that little line come up in it, that hole there for the window latch. You can shrink that to fit there a little better. Down here at the bottom. See, you got a little line come up there. When I hit it with the heat gun, the line that starts to come up in it will start to squiggle. When it squiggles, it's ready for you to hit it and swipe it out. And do that 2 or 3 times just to make sure that you get the material into the shape of the glass that it needs to be. All right, I'm gonna take this off for now, set it to the side. Tint shops have got these boards that they stick the material to. I don't have one of those, so we'll spray on the side of the truck. Boop, here, hold that for me. Good old surface tension. Now I've got to clean up the inside of this window now before we get ready to put the film on. I'm gonna hit it with the soapy water again, scrape it with my plastic scraper to make sure I get everything off there that I can, squeegee it off real good, and then we'll be ready to do the stressful part, you know. All right, in the truck now. I've got the seats taken out because the Chevy Cavalier seats I put in here were out of a sedan, so they don't do the thing to let me get in here real well. So, got some room to work with. Gonna hit this window with the soapy water. Boop, boop. Hopefully, anything that's left on the window as far as residue is concerned, when you squeegee it, will get swiped to the bottom and out of our area of work. Now I've got my film here. I'm going to spray the window, get it good. You know, I guess you don't want to use too much. And the more you put on there, the more you gotta squeegee out. Now this next part, you gotta get that protective film off of your tint. What I've learned is that somebody said if you bite the corner of it, just kind of, that'll get it to separate. Oh, it's doing something. And this will start to reveal your adhesive surface on the film. And you want to spray that with your soapy water as you begin to peel that off. Don't let this touch anything. Dirt, pet hair, dust, anything that gets on this is going to show up in your tint. All right. So we've got soapy water all over the film on the adhesive side and on the window. Now I'm going to carefully stick this to the window. I said carefully. Holy crap. So with both pieces of the material and the window being wet, you can put it on there and it'll stick to it, and you can slide it around. Make sure you've got it lined up. Make sure that you look at all your edges and make sure there are no light gaps showing. So once I'm certain I've got that squared up the way it ought to be, I'm just going to hit the middle real quick. That's going to anchor it in place. Then I'm going to start working my way to the outside, pushing the soapy water out from between the tint and the window. Just keep squeegeeing it until all that soapy water comes out from between your film and your window. Since this glass isn't anchored down, I come out to the outside a little bit here. I'm going to wipe off some of the excess water, especially on the top side, so that I know that when I try to push that stuff out, it's not seeping back into the glass. Coming out here, I can also see areas that may or may not be stuck down. The tint will be dark, and the areas that aren't stuck down will be light or look like a bubble. So I can come out here, hold the window still, push out those last little imperfections. And there we have it. That is one tinted window. Now you can poke a hole through that, cut it out with a knife, do whatever you want to do in that case, and then put that latch back on, and you've got yourself a tinted window there. Oh, I'm going to work with the squeegee right there a little bit more. Look like some tiny little bubbles, but I don't see any big specks or anything crazy. So I'll finish that up, put that latch back together. I'll repeat the process on the other side, and then we'll come back and get the back glass done next. There we go. That's the other one done. Now, here. All right, so after measuring the back glass, I need a piece of film here that's 55 inches wide, about 15 inches tall. Somewhere to cut that out. That'll do. So here's our piece for the back windshield. One thing I figured out when I was squeegeeing it on there just to get it in place is that it's big. Yeah, and so it's got a lot of wrinkles in it still that I didn't quite get out, mostly because it's not sitting on the glass like it should. So I'm going to cut off this excess, then I'll spray it again, squeegee it again, get it nice and flat. Then I will cut out the excess to get the shape that I need. I'm not going to shrink this on the outside, however, because I've got stickers on the back window. And if I try to heat shrink it to that, then it's going to take the shape of those stickers and kind of form with that. So we'll get our shape here, then I'll put it in the truck and then shrink it in there and do the final sticking. It's going to get hot in there with that heat gun. Okay. It's kind of
I feel like this is gonna be a while. Got a lot of lines dragging back out after I squeegee it. Here goes. It drew out and it wrinkled up. Push. And I reckon I'm just gonna work from the middle towards the outside. Get the feeling I'll definitely be going around this glass 2 or 3 times to get all these wrinkles out. It's already getting hot in here. And there, after one trip around, I've still got several wrinkles around the edges. Not as many as I had before, but there's still several. So I'm gonna get a clean cloth and try to wipe up any excess moisture that might be around the edge of the film, and do that a couple more times. Right, here we go. Here goes nothing. Now I've got to work quickly here because this is a very large piece of film. I'm doing this by myself, and you know, I gotta get this protective film off, hold it out, get it sprayed off, get in the truck and get it up on the back window without picking up any contaminants, dust, dirt, hair, anything that could be floating around. So I've got to get this thing separated and get it up there, hopefully without fumbling it. Oh boy, this is nerve-wracking. Come on now. Oh, I got it in the air. We're doing this. This is happening. Oh gosh. Oh, don't touch nothing. Don't fall down. Oh, don't touch nothing. Don't fold up on yourself. Oh, 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 ow, ow, that is a seat belt. Oh. Okay, all right, just get it back there. Oh, uh-oh, oh, slide please. Don't stick, slide. Let me jump out and look at the outside, make sure I don't see anything crazy before I start squeegeeing it. Do a little to the top there, run it down the middle, down. Look like we've got some wrinkles trying to come up. So I've got some wrinkles in here that I'm gonna have to try to work on. So I'm gonna get my heat gun and just start working with that stuff very carefully. There it is, the back glass is tinted. Unfortunately, there's a couple little lines here that no matter what I did, I just couldn't get them to work quite out. So that's gonna bother me and irk me forever, but maybe I can just find a sticker to put over it so nobody will ever see a note. Right now I'm out of time, I gotta go do something else, so I'm gonna bask in the glory of this for a minute, and then we'll come back at another time, get those front ones done. Fixed. All right guys, I'm back on that bull like a cowboy, ready to get the front done. Now I'm gonna use the straight edge of the roll to do the bottom, and I'm going to line this up where I've got a few inches of excess on the left and the right sides. Now the seal on the outside of the truck actually sits a little higher than it does on the inside of the truck on the bottom. However, the seal on the inside of the truck sticks in a little further than the seal on the outside of the truck on the rest of the window. So I'm gonna take that into consideration, try to get this thing down here real good. I'm gonna squeegee an X into the middle of it to help it stick and stay where I want it to be. I'm gonna tuck this into this part of the window here a bit. I'm gonna make a Sharpie mark. That's gonna let me know where I need to cut this once we're getting our pattern cut out. Hopefully I get this right. Now for this side, I'm gonna try to tuck this into the edge of the seal here. Get her somewhat mostly lined up. Now I'm gonna take my razor blade and I'm just gonna tuck into that seal there. And I'm gonna go ahead and cut down the edge. I'm gonna pull this too and try to keep that all good and lined up there. All right, and then I'm gonna do the same. I'm not gonna go all the way to the top. I'm gonna leave me a little bit here to kind of have some sticking off. There we go, that's good there. All right, so that little jagged edge there ain't gonna hurt nobody, it don't mean nothing.
Pop that out. Now I've got a mark here. I've cut this edge out. Now I need to get my top edge. So I'm gonna pull this back out a little bit off the bottom. Come on out there, you. Come out with your hands up. Now I'm gonna roll the window down a bit. So I got the window down a few inches. I'm gonna cut off this excess right around the edge here. I'm not gonna cut up to the glass yet. I'm just gonna cut a big chunk of this excess off. Drag that across. See if I can get that to pop off. Hey, what's holding it? Oh, it's trapped in the door there. All right. There we go. So now that that's done, I've got the excess, big excess off. I've still got a little bit on here. It's time to make the pattern for the outside edge of the window. I'm going to cut down into this just a little bit. Careful, easy. Yeah, there we go. Now I'm going to just drag the blade across the top of the window. Not across the top outside edge, but the actual top edge of the window there. And I'm gonna just hold this to keep it taut and not going the way that I wanted it to. Maybe I'll start over here. There we go. Right on the edge. All right, there's that. Now come back the other direction. Hope you can see this past my arm. There we go. That's what we wanted. Not too shabby. We'll roll this window back up. Now I'm ready to cut out that Sharpie mark I made down here for the mirror edge. Use my straight edge for that. So these sharp corners here, I saw a guy using his fingernail to do that, and that's fine if you want to do that, but I've also got this, you know, cast iron scraper. This side's already rounded off from coming around here. So I'm gonna squeegee this window off real good, because now we're gonna shrink the material. Hit her with the juice again. I'll get it on there, get her lined up. So I'm gonna line this up to where the bottom is just right down there. I'm gonna squeegee everything out for the most part. Get it all to the bottom. Heat gun, just like before with the back window. Get some heat on her. Squeegee it down, a little squiggle there, squeegee it down. Got that one shrunk up a tick. All right, got the inside of the window clean. I've got it down about 1 inch, 1.5 inches. Stick her to the outside one more time. You stay there. I'm gonna bite the corner off. If you're wondering about biting the corner off, I saw another guy on the internet do it, so I know I'm not the only one. There we go. There we go. Now I'm not going to take this film all the way off on this one. We're going to come down and leave about 4 or 5 inches of it still attached. That way we can have it protected as we get the top set. Then once we got the top set, we can roll the window up and then get the bottom done. Careful now, don't touch nothing. I'm gonna need this. Get that bad girl wet. Now let's, oh gosh. Okay, that's just the protective film sliding around. It's okay, it's all good. Let's get this in place. Now I've got the top lined up where I want it. I'm gonna squeegee the top out, down to the sides. Now we can roll that window up. That window is up. Tuck these edges in over here. Pull the rest of this film off. Easy now. Give it a little spray. Oh God, we're doing this. Here we go. Huh, sounds like some very close police sirens. This bottom edge, I've got to get it, oh God, don't stick to yourself now, come on. I've got to get this down inside the window seal. So I'm gonna bunch that up a tick. Really hope I'm not picking up a bunch of BS while I'm doing this. I made sure when I was cleaning the window to clean off the top of this door trim panel real good too.
So, got one of these little guys here. I'm gonna try to pop open that window seal enough that I can slide that material down into it. No crazy issues, concerns. All right, this is much more tedious than I originally anticipated. Get in there. French fry when you're supposed to pizza, you're gonna have a bad time. We got the top edge done. I just need to get the rest of this pulled down in the other direction. What is that? Uh-oh. Well, back to the old drawing board. All right, we've got the window up, squeegeed across the top. This is not the same piece of film you were looking at a second ago. I developed a wrinkle in it. I couldn't get it out, so I went and did a second piece. Got a wrinkle in it while I was trying to shrink it. So this is the third piece. See if I can, you know, the old adage, third time's a charm. See what we can do here. So now I can just real carefully try to work the rest of these bubbles down and out. Don't want to go too fast though, because I think that's how I was getting the wrinkles in my material before. There we have it. The window tint's done on the truck, and man, the truck looks great. Something about window tint just completely transforms the way a car looks. A lot like wheels and stance. Anyway, normally whenever I do a job like this, I like to talk about the satisfaction I get from doing it myself, but I think in this case I got nothing but frustration. I used up all that window tint I bought because I kept making mistakes and going back and going back and going back. And admittedly, the job I've got done now, there's little bubbles and imperfections in it, but I got it enough to where I could live with it. But hey, you know, practice makes perfect, and maybe one day I'll take a stab at something else and do a much better job. But until then, remember, sometimes try to do things the hard way.